You're watching Rajneeti on MA TV with Ram Bhatt, and today again we are in front of Afghani embassy and we are covering the Afghan Unity March. With us now we have Bhajan Singh Kapoor. Mr. Kapoor, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm very proud to be in this Unity March. We represent Afghan Sikhs. We are one of the oldest organization in Afghanistan, Khalsa Diwan Afghanistan, and we stand in unity with the Afghan government. We stand with unity with our Afghan brothers and sisters who are languishing this war and they're suffering this innocent killing. This must end. This senseless killing must end. The Afghans need to be united with the democratically elected government so that we can defeat our enemies.
Mr. Kapoor, for a very long time, very long time, Afghan has been targeted by militants, Afghan has been targeted by internal incidents and terrorists and so on. But it looks like with the new president, he sounds a sensible person, and with the things which he's doing look to take the country to a better situation. In this situation, you have three neighbors, and we are continuously talking about it. One side you have Iran, who is not interested in anything really. On one side it's Pakistan, who we can't say much about it because there is a constant battle between Balochistan freedom and Pakistan is trouble its own. They got their own problems. And there is in India. So what would you say about Indo-Afghanistan relation?
Well, before I speak anything about Indo-Afghan relationship, we need to be very careful with our immediate neighbor, that is Iran and Pakistan. Well, we believe that there's a lot of interference within the Afghan politics by these two neighbors because they don't want stability in the region. If Afghanistan is stable and strong, the neighbors think it is a threat to their security or to their progress. A divided Afghanistan is always it's cherished by its neighbors, where they have been always jealous. Afghanistan has never ever been ruled by any power. So there must be a message loud and clear to Afghanistan's neighbor that it cannot be defeated. All Afghan people need to stand united with the government to defeat any outsiders who interfere in its politics and all this senseless killing in Afghanistan. We hear on a day-to-day basis suicide bombings all over Afghanistan. This must end. No more innocent blood should be spilled on the roads of Afghanistan.
There is lots of militancy going around and it is sponsored, it seems like. Who do you point out to?
Well, all international media, everybody knows that Pakistan is responsible for this extremism in India, in Afghanistan, and in Europe, in the rest of the world. Well, I believe it is its best export. But it's the government which needs to be, and we're just civilians. We can't do anything about it.
Now, coming back to my original question, what do you think about Indo-Afghan relation?
Well, I think India has been very helpful in rebuilding Afghanistan, and I think with the present government, this should continue. And we heard about lots of students in Afghanistan who are getting better training, better education in India, in institutes. They're getting doctors, engineers, etc. And we need all these ambitious projects for a betterment of Afghanistan and for rebuilding Afghanistan.
From the time of Kabuliwala, if you remember, there was a very popular song in Indian movies, "Ae Mere Pyare Watan." And since then, India and Afghanistan are very close, you know.
More than close.
So what do you want to say about? Come on.
About this friendship, we can't put it just in one word. It's beyond words. I think it's a connection that we have for centuries. It's a connection of culture, identity, and people to people. And it's a connection of heart. So that's what our former president said. Jab pyar kiya to darna kya.
Jab pyar kiya to darna kya. That's very well said. I want to talk to you about exactly what's happening here today. What are you going to achieve by having this unity march? What is playing in back of your mind? Not just only you, but I can see there are other communities of Afghanistan are here, and they are really very closely, very eager to something good happen. So tell us more about the intention of today's march.
The intention, as we already said, is unity and diversity of Afghans. You can see we have got all Afghans from different backgrounds, and that's why we're kind of promoting, preserving, protecting this unity and sending a positive message to the world. We're one as a nation. We have shared commonalities, we have shared culture, we have shared identities. And the message here is to engage our people in positivity and in a very good outcome, which is about peace, unity, and looking for hope and forward. So we have no political aims here standing. It's totally people's view, it's totally people's demand and opinion here that they gather here, and that's why we have got this bunch of people here standing with us. So it's totally about peace and unity, and there's no political gains in it.
Okay. Now, there are few things which are still damaging Afghanistan, and the most important and the troublesome is the terrorist attacks, infiltration within the country, and who do you think is responsible for it?
Well, looking at the situation and directly putting responsibility on just a place, a group of people, or a nation, or a country, or politics, or intelligence of other countries. At the same time, of course, it is an external intervention in Afghanistan that threatens our security, that threatens our situation, and it's more to do with the region and neighboring countries. So we always send them the positive message that their foreign policies toward Afghanistan should change. They should look more positive. They should look with us in harmony and peace, because it's for the best of the region and the world. So answering your question directly, to say to the latest incidents, as according to the National Security Evidence and Council reports has come out, that most of these attacks are always planned beyond Afghanistan borders, mainly in Pakistan, and these groups are equipped there. They enter Afghanistan and they do these inhuman acts which devastated our nation, and it is in no means has any religious or any other reasons or cause to accept these sort of attacks. So we look at the very closest border, which is Pakistan, and we still, with this situation, sending them a message to their nation. We're not standing against their nation, but we're standing against their government and their foreign policies that wants to have Afghanistan unstable and in such devastation.
They always say that when there is a trouble amongst the neighbors, the best policy is to have a dialogue.
Yes.
And if it's not taking place, then convince somehow, put some kind of pressure so that, you know, they sit down, come on the table, agree that they are responsible for a trouble which is being created, and then they take some steps to resolve it. In terms of, I can see a very young person you are, in terms of Afghanis outside the country who are trying to put, you know, lots of efforts behind the creating the peace in Afghan, what exactly, how do you plan it? What do you think can be the best option?
Okay, if I get the question, what you ask is more how we Afghans from here or abroad can actually help the situation. There are different ways. One is that Afghan government have always pressurized Pakistan and have always offered dialogues. We always open the doors of dialogues. We always went there. We always asked them to come. Any country that was involved in Afghanistan in terms of bringing instability and sort of risking our national benefit and security, we have always been open to the insurgents to come to the peace and negotiation and discussion. And we asked Pakistan foreign ministries and security as well to get involved. Let's start a dialogue. That has always been failed, but from our part has all been optimistic that let's restart it again. Let's take the policies in a different way. But with Afghans living abroad, the best way is to lobby, to have such gatherings, to send a message out to the world that we Afghans are the victim of a war that's imposed on us, a war that's unannounced, it's not announced, and we are in trouble with such a war that we don't want. We are not leading it. So for us at this stage is to lobby, to have a group of people to come together, to utilize a positive message to the world, so we can influence the policymakers here to put pressure on Pakistan, because there's a huge sum of money that goes to Pakistan to support the fight against the terrorism and their military in the region. So that goes to America, that goes to England as well, that we should emphasize on these situations, send a message out and start a strong lobbying channel so that we can bring Pakistan to the table to realize that the terrorism is not only damaging us, them as well, because you can see what's happening in Pakistan and the people are dying, the innocent people that has nothing to do with their foreign policy or their intelligence, but they still suffer and die. So it's a common cause. It's killing us all. So we need to stand because our blood and their blood have the same color. There's no difference. So our message is positive. Still, please stop it, come to the table. We can make a beautiful and peaceful region there.
Now we have already recognized and acknowledged that India is your good friend. India has been the good friend all the time. What do you expect? Is there anything else in terms of India and Afghanistan relations can be done more to bring this sustainable relationship, support more, make it better, stronger relationship?
Well, definitely. First of all, thanks from the Indian people and their government that's always been standing with the Afghan nation. They've always supported our cause. They've always been there with an open heart with us, and we are very thankful to that. We see India as our biggest friend in the region. I've always relied with them, and I've always been bonds with them together. From this point is to keep this relationship, to keep this strategic connection, because it will definitely benefit India and the Indians as well. We hope that one day we stand there to give India as much as we can, because this is how we manage the world today. We just can't be all the time receiving. India has its strategic tip in Afghanistan as long as we keep that mutual understanding and respect. At the same time, what we want is to support us practically, comprehensively, our people, our youth. The best thing I can see that India has been doing since this 10 years was a scholarship, taking these Afghans there, studying there, coming back to rebuild their country. So in development section, they have done a lot. We still expect more to come. At the same time, we welcome any support that they can at this stage. What we want is that this mutual understanding should stay in a very strategic partnership rather than other countries feel that threatened, because we don't want any country to feel threatened. Neither India wants their friendship feel them to isolate in the region. So what we want is let's keep this friendship, this dosti, so we continue, you guys continue, and eventually we're going to change the people with negative mind in the region and the countries. Hopefully that's all.
Now there is CPAC and there is Chabar. Yes, India, Iran and Afghanistan has come together and they are building this project called Chabar. Do you think it's going to benefit everybody? Do you think it's because of that development, further development, or enhancing the business between the countries? Or do you think it's an answer to CPAC in India and Afghanistan and Iran's answer to CPAC by China and Pakistan?
Well, at the same time, when it comes to development and the strategic affairs between the countries, Afghanistan is in a very complicated situation. What we want to do is we want to be friends and work with everyone, because we are the main hub at that station in Asia. Everyone can connect through us. So if we are developed, if we are in peace, every country will equally share all those things that they're looking for. That's what we're saying. If Afghanistan is in peace, as Allama Iqbal said, that if Afghanistan is in peace, the whole Asia will be in peace. But now it is beyond that. If Afghanistan is in peace, the world will be in peace. But at the same time, when it comes to all these development projects like CPAC, what we want is the more the countries work together, the more stability will come to them and to us. Because now there is the Daesh development happening there. They're getting together, they're coming together, they're threatening the borders, which will threaten these development projects. At the same time, energy distribution is the main issue in the region, and Afghanistan is the hub to connect this energy through Central Asia and to India and Pakistan and to Iran. So we try to have those strategies, those policies through the central government to maintain this relationship and to have these contracts in a mutual understanding, so the Afghan people will benefit as well as other countries like Iran and India. So on coming to China, China is still a dominating country. We shouldn't be saying that they are not. They are. They're actually dominating Pakistan. They're dominating the region, and mainly they're dominating Afghanistan economically. So they're sending a lot of goods in there. There's a lot of transit, but at the same time we want to make more security understanding, I would say, agreements with them. That it's the security that threatens our benefits. It's the security that threatens our interests. It's nothing else. It's not the people. So we're trying to convince China that being together with Afghanistan will eventually benefit their interests in the region and Pakistan, which is their biggest ally in this term. At the same time, Iran has agitation about this, but that doesn't mean that Iran will never consider these matters. They do, but latest attacks you see, they were threatened as well. So we are telling the message, it's the same enemy. We're suffering the most, we're the victim, and it's imposed on us. It will come to you guys one day, which will be the worst day to regret for.
And finally, I spoke very briefly to one of your friends, and that is the trouble which comes creeping in, and then it becomes a big trouble, and that is drug troubles. There's a lot of drug problems, and it's becoming a big problem in Afghanistan. How do you suppose the government and the other people would want to tackle this issue?
Well, I wouldn't comment on this as an expert, but to my understanding, the war, when we talk about the war, the drugs is there, and Afghanistan has been a victim of this, and the cultivation of this has been going on. They're funding their insurgency, either the Taliban or other insurgency group. Of course, it is one of the biggest things. For example, Russia will always consider this as one of the biggest killer of their people because they are affected by that. Iran is affected by that. So then the Central Asia. So this is something we are asking the international community to empower us, to support us. For example, our national forces, our security forces, to secure the regions that they cultivate this, to control those regions that's happening. But at the same time, it's an international issue in Afghanistan. The war involved this. So the more we support our government, the more we make sure that the people are assisting with these situations. Because we know miles away from Kabul, there are people actually doing this business. There's mafia. There's a mafia dominant in areas that no one can rule there. This is the reality. But it will take time for the government to slowly build this. At the same time, those countries in the region like Russia, if they're concerned of these things, they should come and support us to fight this. They wouldn't be able to fight such problem which exists in Afghanistan to protect their people. By closing borders, putting soldiers there, no. Drugs will still be smuggled there. This is a threatening thing. So this has a direct connection with the war in Afghanistan, and it will take time.
And finally, we are here in United Kingdom, thousands of miles away from our country. You, as you have a love for your country. You are all united here. What would you want to say to, your ambassador, which he should go and tell the current president of your country?
Well, at the moment we do have a very clear resolution letter which will represent to the Afghan government through the Afghan ambassador here. At this time, our message is for them to stand in solidarity with these people, stand in solidarity with our demands, which are legitimate, which are peaceful, and we're supporting the government. We're standing there. We know there are shortcomings, but it doesn't mean that we should topple the government. We should topple the situation. We shouldn't do that. At this time, we know it's a fragile state. We need to support, and once we get there, then of course we can put our demands forward to this. From here, the ambassador, we have a list of resolution, but at the same time, from him personally, is to stand in solidarity with us, to come out and support this, the people's voice here, and through initiatives of cultural and social projects in London to bring Afghans together, to unite them and eliminate the elements of prejudice and those people that are disuniting us.
That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you. साहब ये था राजनीति प्रोग्राम। आज के लिए हमारा प्रोग्राम यहीं पे समाप्त होता है। इस समय आप देख रहे हैं हमें अफगानिस्तान एम्बेसी के सामने सेंट्रल लंदन में। आप ये प्रोग्राम देख सकते हैं यूट्यूब पर, MATV चैनल्स पर, और इसके अलावा सारे दुनिया में वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब पे www.matvchannels.com और Sky 793 पर। तो इसी के साथ राम भट्ट को दीजिएगा आज्ञा। थैंक यू वेरी मच। बाय फॉर नाउ।